Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English summary, a gist and a translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamaruzzaman Sahib Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Sunday, the 7th of Zulhijjah 1442 after the Ishraaq Salat, corresponding with the English date 18th of July 2021. Hazrat Wala Damat Barakatuhum quotes the ayat of the Quran, وَأَلْزَمَهُمْ كَلِمَةَ التَّقْوَى وَكَانُوا أَحَقَّ بِهَا وَأَهْلَهَا. Hazrat Wala then goes on to read an incident. This waqia is about Sayyidina Fuzail ibn Ayaz. It is related from him. I heard this particular waqia from Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib as well. One of his students, the students of Fuzail ibn Ayaz rahimahullah, was in his last moments. So Fuzail ibn Ayaz goes to him and he's sitting at his bedside, at his head side, and he starts reciting Surah Yasin for him as it is his last moments. So the person, the student, stops him and says, "Don't read, don't recite." Nevertheless, thereafter, he starts giving talqeen of the kalima tayyiba, La ilaha illallah. And then he says, "Listen, I've left that, I've abandoned that." And thereafter, on those words, he passes away. Fuzail ibn Ayaz, this incident that takes place with his student causes great grief and sorrow to him, so much so that he did not leave his quarters and his apartment for 40 days. Rather, he sat weeping about this particular incident. Rather, he was from one of the celebrated students and disciples of Fuzail ibn Ayaz. He had great hope in him, and after what he had seen, it had affected him and disturbed him tremendously. After 40 long days, Fuzail ibn Ayaz rahimahullah sees in his dream that his student is being dragged by the angels and about to be thrown into Jahannam. And at that time, he asks him that how is it, or on what basis did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala snatch away your marifat, your recognition and this great wealth and dawlat that you had? On what basis was it? Because you were one of my celebrated and outstanding students. He answers, it was due to 3 reasons. One is that about carrying tales. When I was with my friends, I would say something else, and when I would come to you, I would say something else. Now this is something which has become so common today, whether it is in the homes, whether it is in the madaris, whether it is in the khankas, you would find this all over. You would find this all over. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib was laying down, he was relaxing, and a person came to put oil on his head, and doing that he started speaking negatively about some senior person, all in the name of turning the attention of the sheikh away from this particular person. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib became upset, and he never ever allowed this person ever again the opportunity to come and make khidmat or put oil on his head. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself would say to the Sahaba that don't pass on to me this, that and the other regarding your fellow colleagues and companions, because when I come out from my private chamber and when I come into the masjid, I would like to come to you in such a way that my heart is completely open and unpolluted regarding things that you would tell me. Meaning I'm munsharihul qalb, my heart is completely open and clean to each and every one of you. Because if my heart is disturbed and upset about you, then how would you receive this noor from my heart? This noor from my heart. Now people go and they tell the seniors this, The child goes and he tells the father this so that he can turn the attention of the parents away from from his siblings, so that he can enjoy that type of special care and attention. You would find this in the madrasas as well, in the classroom situation, where the one student goes and he tries to poison the mind of the teacher, turn the attention of the teacher away from certain student or the students, and put the attention to him. In the khanqa as well, the murid goes and he says such things to the sheikh so that he can turn the attention of the sheikh away from a particular disciple. So that was the first thing that this person said. It was due to three things that my marifat was snatched away. The first one was that of carrying tales. Naqlul kalam ala wajhil fasad. You take something from here to there just to cause mischief. So that you can turn the attention of the seniors away from the people. The second point was that of hasad, jealousy. I was always jealous of my colleagues. And we know about hasad. It is so destructive. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that jealousy eats away good deeds, like how fire eats and devours dry wood. You're earning, but side by side you have this thief that's with you, that's stealing everything that you earned. You're carrying out amal upon amal, but on your side you have jealousy, and this jealousy is eating away all your thieves, all your deeds. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah used to say that more than worrying about your income is to worry about how to look after your income. We are worried about that how can I earn this and how can I earn that and the other, and the list goes on. But more than that, what you have with you to look after that, those a'mal that you have with you and deeds and neki that you got with you, to look after that is actually more important than anything else. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, if a few pennies would go missing, or he would be looking for something, he would be restless about that and go up and down looking for it. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to go to the civil lines, not to go and take a stroll and this and that, so he could do his ma'mulat, so that he could carry out his tilawat of the Quran Majid, and especially in the holy month of Ramadan, how many khatams of the Quran he would make. But on that trip going and coming, if he would drop his small ruman, or what can we say in those days, just like a hand towel, he would go back with the rickshaw. It would cost him again that amount to go back, but just looking for that. And then he would say that person who can't even look after something as meager as this, how would he look after his iman? How would he look after his akhirat? Because this is what the deen teaches us. Listen to this. لولا النبوات لبطل المعاش والمعاد. If it wasn't for nubuwat and prophethood, if it wasn't for prophetic teachings, then our livelihood in this dunya would have become destroyed, and our akhirat as well. Our staying here in this dunya would have become null and void. Our livelihood, how to earn, what to do, how to do, would have been destroyed. Ma'ash, our living, our rizq, our livelihood would have become destroyed. And similarly, our ma'ad, our return, our akhirat would have been destroyed as well. When I went to Aligarh, I spoke about this, that here people come and study so that they can achieve this type of profession and degree and this, that and the other. But listen, what you're doing now, you would have never have had it in the first place if it wasn't for nubuwwat and prophethood. The Anbiya alayhimu salatu wassalam, when they brought their shariats and they came to people, it was concerning ma'ash as well and ma'ad as well, the livelihood of the people and their akhirat as well. Look at Idris alayhi salatu wassalam. And what he would do, he would take his herbs, He would take the leaves, this, that and the other, and from there he would make his medication, etc. And so many people would get shifa from it. And so much so, look at his mu'jiza, when he would be walking in the fields, the different herbs would call out to him and say to him, take me, I am the shifa from certain disease. Take this of, and another herb would say, take me, I am the shifa of that type of disease. Allahu Akbar. So that was the whole foundation that was laid. Today, whatever is being done and whoever is carrying it out, it is actually from the foundation that was laid down by the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam regarding livelihood. And if you go amongst the Arabs as well, this about seeds, dana, is so important. You would always find this on their dastarkhans, that the actual seed, that they would understand that to be the essence and the root, and they would include that in their diets. I went to so many different doctors, and somebody would say this, and I would ask, a weakness, what do I take? What tonic can I take? This, that, and the other. And there was a great doctor who actually prescribed for me. He said, leave the rest of all of this here. Rather, take these few items and put it together. Badam and this and that and the other. Get it crushed. Put it into a powder form. And every day, just take a few teaspoons of that there. That is sufficient for strength for you. So again, look at that. They brought us back to the original, to the seeds. So, lawlan nubuwat, if you abandon deen, even your rozi and your rizq and your life here on dunya would become destroyed. The akhirat most definitely would be destroyed. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of making qadr of our deen. Hazrat Wala then goes on to quote an incident about some Yahud that were all sitting together, and all of them had Qur'ans in front of them. The passerby says to them, you people studying Qur'an? And they replied and they said, yes, we're doing research, because this is the essence. From here everything is found. Meaning, even for their scientific research, they go back to the Qur'an to see that what has the Qur'an mentioned about this, that and the other. Allahu Akbar. So Fuzail ibn Ayaz and his student, so he says, my ma'rifat has been snatched away from me, number one, because of carrying tails. I'm telling you something, I'm telling my colleague something else. And hasad, jealousy, and number three, because some doctor told me because of my sickness that shifa for me lies in this, that once in a year I should drink a glass of wine, due to which I used to do that. Nevertheless, Allah Ta'ala हमें अपनी नाराज़गी से बचाइए. Allah Ta'ala save us from His displeasure, because we will not be able to tolerate that. Once Allah becomes upset and displeased with us, it is absolutely disastrous. Hazrat Wala then writes in the footnote of this particular incident of Hazrat Fuzail ibn Ayaz rahimahullah ta'ala, stating that a person can go to the greatest luminary, the greatest sheikh of the time. However, so long as he does not have the intention of islah, rectification and rehabilitation, his intention of sitting there with the sheikh is different, then the effects as well would be disastrous. You're going in, you're sitting with the greatest luminary, you're sitting with the greatest personality, with the greatest sheikh, but your intention is not correct. You don't even have fikr for islah. People go there for the islah. You are not there for your islah. And then what would the end result be? It would be exactly the same as the student of Fuzail ibn Ayaz rahimahullah ta'ala. May Allah protect us. May Allah protect us. Nevertheless, we go on, and a person, Hazrat Wala is just saying here, I'm just reading this note now, that a person goes to the hospital and he wants ilaj, he wants cure, he goes there for treatment. He has to follow the rules. But we go to the khanka, but we don't want to follow the rules. We don't want to stay there with the niyat of Islah. Then what would happen and what will be achieved? Thereafter, I want to now quote to you two other incidents. दो और आदमियों के हाल पर गौर करो. I want you to ponder on the condition of two other people. One is that of Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah, the great traditionist. The great traditionist. Now let me tell you about him. He had such type of acceptance, and when he used to walk the streets, hundreds, thousands of his students and disciples would walk with him. On one occasion, he sneezed, and after saying Alhamdulillah, the huge group that was around him all said the Masnoon Dua, which is Yarhamukallah, which left such an echoing sound resounding throughout the entire city that even the king of that time became restless and said, "What's happening? Are the rebels attacking? Are they coming to take over my fort?" And they said, "No, Hazrat, it's not that. Abdullah ibn Mubarak is passing by and he sneezed, so all his students answered to his sneezing." Allahu Akbar. Such a great personality. At the time of his death, he takes his gaze and lifts it to the heavens, and laughing, smiling away, he says, "Limithli hadha falyamalil amilun." It is for such, it is for this that the people who carry out deeds should carry out deeds. Those who do actions should carry actions for this year, meaning whatever he was shown at the time of death. Allahu Akbar. And the second one is that of an incident of Ustazul Haramain. He quotes from his Ustaz, Hazrat Abu Bakr rahimahullah, that he heard this particular incident from him, that I had a colleague that was studying with us. He would persist, he would study much, but he could not grasp the lesson. He would make much effort. He was a weak student. Nevertheless, he would study, but he could not make much progress. He would just make a little bit of progress. I'm really amazed at his particular incident and situation, that during those student days he became sick, but instead of going to the hospital, he went to the khanqa of the awliya. He went to the khanqa of the awliya. Nevertheless, his condition deteriorated further. He became even more sick. At that time there, I see him also lifting his gaze to the heavens, and then he says to himself, Ibn Fawrak, he says to himself, this could have been his name or his laqab, and he reads the same ayat, لِمِثْلِ هَذَا فَلْيَعْمَلِ الْعَامِلُونَ. It is for incidents of this nature that people do actions. It is for this actually that people do actions. काम करने वाले इसी मिसल के लिए काम करते हैं. Actually for this. So he may have been a weak student, but his heart was connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His heart was connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, let's go on. We'll tell you about another incident now of Malik ibn Dinar rahimahullah ta'ala. Malik ibn Dinar rahimahullah ta'ala says that I went to one of my neighbors when he was in his last stages at the time of death, sakarat, and he said to me, "O Malik, I see in front of me two mountains of fire." Nevertheless, I asked the house people, "Listen, tell me what's happening." And they said, "Listen, he has a scale, one scale for giving people things and another scale for accepting and weighing people's things and taking it." Now there may have been a difference in that, meaning that for the one of giving people, it might have been a more shallower one, so you can give people less, and the one for taking from people, it might have been a deeper one, which you could have been taking more from people. meaning deception in trade. Waylul lil mutaffifin. These people that are not consistent when they weigh things. They are not accurate in it. وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ. When they weigh and they measure for people, then they do not give the correct amount. This was actually revealed regarding the people of Medina. But after the revelation of this particular ayat, they became so cautious that they would always give extra. So much so, up to today, if you go to Medina Munawwara and you go into the bazaars, if you purchase something on a roll, material, etc., they would always send you off with something extra. They would always send you off with something extra. You know, many of us, we go somewhere and we eat, and there's such hospitality and they give us so much. But when the same person comes around this way to us, we behave in such a manner that we do not even recognize him. We do not even treat him with basic etiquette. Basic etiquette, leave alone a lavish meal or this or that. We act like we don't even know him. But when we went there, we took fully. When he came here, we gave nothing. That's our condition. So nevertheless, Malik ibn Dinar takes those scales, he smashes one against the other and destroys them. But unfortunately, his condition becomes even worse. His condition becomes even worse and more disastrous. We continue and we go on to some other incidents. Sufyan Thawri rahimahullah ta'ala was seen after his demise in a dream. The person who's having the dream says to him, "Oh Abu Abdullah, how are you? I mean, what's happening? How did Allah Ta'ala treat you?" And he says, "Listen, that is a laqab and a title of respect and honor. Do not call me with that, rather call me by saying Sufyan." So he calls him by saying Sufyan, and in answer to that, Sufyan Thawri rahimahullah ta'ala reads some couplets. نظرت إلى ربي عيانا فقال لي, I looked to my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he said to me, هنيئا رضائي عنك يا ابن سعيد, that congratulations, O Abu Sa'id, I am pleased with you. لقد كنت قواما ذا الليل قد دجا. You used to stand up in salat whenever the sun used to set. You would be particular about your qiyamul layl. And you used to focus to me completely, and your heart used to be attached to me. Your heart used to be attached to me. فَدُونَكَ فَاخْتَرْ أَيُّ قَصْرٍ تُرِيدُهُ. Now look to whichever side you want and choose whichever palace you want. وَزُرْنِي فَإِنِّي عَنْكَ غَيْرُ بَعِيدٍ. And you may visit me whenever you so wish, because I'm not far off. I'm not far off. This was the incident of Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah. Let's go on to another incident. This is also about a dream that people seen after a person had passed away. They see that his complexion and his color has changed completely. And even worse than that, his hands are fastened to his neck. It was asked to him that, what's happening and how come you're in such a state? And he said, Tawalla zamanun la'ibna bihi wa hadha zamanun bina yal'abu. Such a time has passed that we used to play with time. We never cared about anything. We weren't worried about the importance of the time on earth to prepare for the akhirah. We just let our time go in vain. And we in such a condition now, وَهَذَا زَمَانٌ بِنَا يَلْعَبُ. And we such a condition now in the akhirat that time is mocking at us. Time is playing with us. Nevertheless, these are so many important incidents that we went through. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of doing good deeds which are most pleasing to Him, so that we may have husn khatamah, a good and beautiful ending, husn khatamah. And Allah Ta'ala make this most difficult situation of the akhirat, this mamla of the akhirat, this matter of the akhirat, Allah Ta'ala make it easy for us, and Allah Ta'ala be pleased with us. Allah make us successful in this year. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.